very good morning to all. This is G. Arun Kumar, lecturer in commerce from Dr. V.S. Krishna Government Degree and PG College. Today I would like to present an important topic, that is the factors influencing the growth of retailing in India, in the subject retailing. And the outline of my presentation for today would be like this. In the first, we will see the retail sector, a bird's eye view and evolution of retail in India. Second, the financial overview of retail sector in India. Third, the different segments of retail sector. Fourth, factors that are influencing the growth of retail sector in India. Fifth, the challenges faced by the retail sector in India. And finally, the future of retailing in India, the road ahead. So let us continue my presentation. Now, let us see, before we go into the actual discussion, what is retailing. So retailing is all about selling the finished goods, or the selling of goods to the ultimate customers for the purpose of consumption. So as per Philip Kotler, retailing can be defined as the last function of marketing, which ultimately aims at selling the manufactured goods and the provision of services to the ultimate customers, right? So as we observe today, there is a vast growth of retail in the entire globe. Now let us see why retailing has become so famous today, right? So the main causes are, when you see a bird's eye view, the rising GDP growth, the growing population, the greater disposable income, and the increasing consumer who are spending more time are combining to the global retail industry and the opportunities for retail segment players. And the market is forecasted to reach an estimated $1,200 billion in 2022. Imagine, with a CAGR of 9% over the next 6 years, that will be from 16 to 22. And if you see the retail industry, today it is the fifth largest in the world, and it is one of the surprise sectors with such huge potential, and it also accounts for nearly 14 to 15% of the GDP of every country. And especially when you come to India, and retailing, you say, is playing an important role in India as well, since in India, retailing industry is fastest growing in India, especially for the few years. And the retail sector comprises of organized and unorganized sectors. So according to the Global Development Index 2022, our country ranks 5th among the top 30 emerging markets for the retail sector. And in the recent announcement made by the Government of India, which is allowing 100% FDI in terms of both single retail and multi-brand retail, it has created really a positive sentiments in the retail sector. That's the reason why now, if you see, the Tatas are also into retail now, the Reliance is into retail, the Spencers are into retail, and Walmarts are into retail, and so on. So many companies are coming into India, the foreign companies, because the FDI investment has been allowed 100%. Now, what is organized retail? These are the traders or the retailers who are licensed for trading activities, right? And they have registered in order to pay taxes for the government. So the corporate taxes are mainly paid by these retail organized retailers. And when it comes to unorganized retail, it includes all those unauthorized small shops, especially the conventional kirana stores we find in around areas in our streets, the general stores, the corner shops, okay, and other small retail outlets. But till now, they still remain the radiating force of the Indian industry, retail industry especially, right? Now let us come to the evolution of retail in India. If you see the picture here, you can see that the retail evolution in India has passed through three different phases. The first phase was traditional formats, the second was the established formats, and the Now the recent format is the emerging format. Now in the traditional formats there were salesmen who used to do the door to door campaigning for selling the products, and we have hearts, then there were some melas or exhibitions, then we had Mondays, and still now in some part of the villages we still find these Mondays on Saturdays and Wednesdays where we go and buy the fresh fruits and vegetables and kiranas. And when it comes to established formats, we have kirana shops, convenience stores, provision stores, departmental stores. Especially today, we have PDS, public distribution systems. We have fair price shops, we have pawn shops, BD shops. All these are established formats. And when it comes to emerging formats, now we find most of these exclusive retail outlets, hypermarkets like Spencer's, Reliance Super, then more, DMarts. We have internal retail, we have malls like PVR in Hyderabad, okay, Shopper Stop in Hyderabad and Bangalore. We have specialty malls, multiplexes where you find the pictures. You have fast food outlets like KFC's today, Burger King, McDonald's, etc. And we also having the service galleries who are providing services to the customers. Now see, let us have the largest retail chains in India. If we see, still we have the public distribution systems which are under 4,63,000, followed by the post offices, 1,60,000 in number, the KVICs, Khadi and Village Industry Centers around 7,000, and CSD, the canteen stores department, especially for defense people and the families of defense people, we are having around 3,400. Now let us see a bird's eye view on what is happening in retailing in sector in India. Now retail is a new buzzword in India. The Global Retail Development Index has ranked India first among the top 30 emerging markets in the world recently. And it is also believed that India has the potential to deliver the fastest growth over the next 50 years. Imagine the opportunities in retail sector, especially for the commerce graduates and BBA graduates and management graduates. And well, the barter system is still the oldest form of retail trade. Since independence, retail in India has evolved differently, as I mentioned earlier, depending on the size and its complexity. Now, apart from agriculture, you can say that retailing contributes around 10 to 11.5% of a country's GDP, and the estimated size of the retail industry in India is around 16,000 crores. Imagine, but this is only the 2% of the total estimated retail sale, which means that still there is an opportunity for growth of retail in India. And the retail in India has increased from 2,200 billions in 2000 year to 3,300 in 2005, and it is around $5,000 billion in 2022. Now there is a growing trend of shopping malls where you find the food courts, recreation facilities, ample car space, which was firstly introduced in 1999 in Mumbai, and it has I think all over the world. It has reached all over the country in entire India, from south to north, east to west. We find different shopping malls which are coming now. And let us see a financial overview of the retail sector, right? See, in 2017, it was around $672 billion, the retail market in India, which has grown to around $950 billion in 2018, and now in 2021 financial year it was around $1,200 billion. See, from this we can ensure that the retail sector in India is growing every year, and our future is very bright for retail sector in India. And let us have a look over the major players in international and national market, the major retailers. When it comes to global, Walmart still is a number one retailer in terms of size, scale, operations, profitability in the entire globe, followed by Costco, Tesco, Carrefour, Kroger, etc. And when it comes to India, we have Future Group, Reliance Retail, Careza Group, Tata's, and Bharti Group. And as of now, today, as per the latest rankings, Reliance stands first among all the retailers in terms of its size, operations, reach, and profitability in India, as per the latest Retailers Association of India's ranking. Now, let us have a look of the different segments of retail sector, right? Which where we can see that the share of retail market is mostly dominated by the hypermarkets, which is it is around 21%, followed by the apparel stores, which is around 19%, and we have department multiplexes and gaming at 15%. The departmental stores are 10%, and footwear stores are at 8%. 9% are followed by the restaurants, followed by 8% by the mobile stores, and today you find this jewelry also, which is dominating among the Indian retail sector at 10%. Now we can say that still hypermarkets are the major retail sector leaders, right? Now let us see the retail market size as per the Retail Association of India, which I have taken from the internet source. See the growth. We can say that it was $779 billion in 2019, right? Then it was 705. Right. So by this we can say that the retail sector is growing day by day in India. Now coming to the major part of the presentation, that is the growth of retail sector in India, let us discuss the important factors which have contributed the growth of retail sector in India. Now let us see the factors influencing the growth of retail in India. The first important factor which has influenced the growth of retail sector in India is the increase in the per capita income. Now what do you mean by per capita income? Per capita income is nothing but the national income divided by the population of a country will get the per capita income, and which is an indicator of the economic development of any country. So when there is an increase in the per capita income, it reflects that the income of the households will also increase successively. As a result, they have a more income to consume. As a result, it has resulted in the vast growth of retail sector. Now you know the small households, small families, they are likely to shop from big chains and supermarkets when they are comparing to kirana stores. Now you see all of a sudden why there is a demand for DMart, Spencer's, Reliance Fresh, Metros, and even Walmart stores in India is because people are not hesitating to purchase from these big chain stores or supermarkets. So since there's an increase in the per capita income, you can say that people are spending more and more of their incomes on these shopping malls and big supermarkets. And the second reason is that there is a lot of changes which have taken place in the demographical profile of the Indian customers. Now India has a huge young population now, working population, like 40% of the population of our country is young generation, right, which is generating a large income, and we have a high savings also. For any developing country, young age bracket and the income of these young people savings are the key factors for the growth, and all of these factors have helped in attracting big retail chains of India. And also now the number of working women and the number of women who are working after the marriage will also increase, since they don't find time, since they are going for work. Now there's a demand for fast food restaurants, there's a demand for online grocery stores, there's a demand for so many online fashion stores also. since most of the young people, since they are job holders, so they don't have time to go to the shop and buy the goods, so they are mostly, and you see housewives, you see the working women, they want everything under a single roof. So that's why if you go to DMart, you find all the provisions, kirana, you find furniture, you find fashion, everything, footwear, everything under one roof. One roof. So there's a reason why in India there's a lot of growth in the retail sector. And coming to the third factor, there is a high standard of living. I mean, the standard of living in India has improved drastically after the LPG. When we compare with independence, before independence, now the living standard of our people have increased that very drastically. Now, earlier in India, shopping was always an emotional tag which was attached thereto. Okay, and people like shopping, doing shopping from malls or shopping complexes were very costlier, and people thought that this is only suitable to the rich class people. But now the people's mindsets have changed, the attitude of the people have changed. The misconception that shopping malls are meant only for the, I mean, like rich class people is now nowhere. Now this shows that every individual in Indian customer is going to the shopping malls, is spending his hard earned money. So now there's a demand for these big shopping malls, which shows that the standard of living has improved, and it has resulted in the demand for more retail outlets like shopping malls in India. Now the fourth factor is very important factor, is that now today there's a change of consumption pattern. Now, what do you mean by consumption pattern? That the way the Indian consumers are spending their money have changed dramatically during the last, I mean, say 10 to 15 years. Earlier, customers were brand loyal, right? And thanks to which they were allowing new brands to enter into the market. Now, we want more and more number of new brands. We are not happy with one brand. For example, if you go to Flipkart, you have a lot of brands in selecting a laptop or a mobile, right? But now the customers are showing good response to new product which are entering into the market, because they realize that they are now paying for the quality. They're not just paying the price for the brand, but they are paying for the quality. So this change in the consumption pattern of the Indian customers have drastic change in the customer's perception, has opened ways for several new entrants. So that's why when it comes to Apple, Apple is selling more of its iPhones or Apple phones or its MacBooks or its AirPods, etc. in India, since an Indian customer also are spending more for the quality, right? And coming to the fifth factor, it is all about the availability of low cost personal credit line. As rightly said, now most of the customers are able to buy lot of products. Even if you go to mobiles, now you can buy these on EMIs. You can see automobiles, you can see the cars, two wheelers, even groceries, everything now you can pay through the credit cards and debit cards. So these are the low cost personal credit lines which have helped the Indian customers to enjoy the new products at very affordable prices. And also when it comes to giants like Amazon and Flipkart, now they are also offering pay later. That means don't worry, if you don't have money, don't get bothered. Okay, you buy the goods now and next month you can make a payment. And sometimes you have a EMI also. See, the Flipkart and Amazon, they're also giving EMIs depending on the customer profile, so they can pay in easy installments also. Now a facility from Bajaj Finserv is also giving a EMI card where you can buy electronics, even clothes. If you go to a shop, you can buy a goods of around 10,000 rupees and you can pay in 5 equal installments. This facilities is given by Bajaj. And credit cards, so EMIs on debit cards. So like this, today the customers are happily avail this low cost personal credit lines, which have given rise to the growth of retail sector in India. And the sixth important factor is that today there is an improvement in the infrastructure, right? And with many infrastructure changes which are happening right from metro rails to road connectivity within a country, retailing is additionally expanding these wings with huge infrastructure spendings which has entered the country in short of FDI. So today the government has allowed 100% FDIs in single brand and multi-brand retail sectors. So that's the reason why giants like Walmart, IKEA had entered in India. And coming to the seventh important factor, the corporate sector entry. Now you see, like large business tycoons like Tata's, Birlas, and Reliance have now entered into the retail sector, right? And they are during a position to supply quality products and entertainment also. For example, if you see the Reliance is operating in different portfolios. Like they are into Reliance Fresh supermarkets, they are into Reliance Trend selling fashionable clothes, they are into Footprint selling the footwear, they are into jewelry, Reliance Jewels, they are into Reliance petrol bunks. Now they are into the 4G and 5G communication networks, Geo. And very recently, if you see, the Tatas have also entered into the Reliance, like into the retail. Like today, they have own the Big Basket, the online grocery store where the Tatas are also selling the fresh fruits, vegetables, and groceries, right? So you can say that there is a entry of lot of corporate sector into the retail sector, which has given growth for the Indian retail industry, right? And coming to the last and important factor which has influenced the growth of retail in India is the entry to numerous sources of financing, right? An economy gets its finance from two important methods, like one is FFIs, that is the foreign institutional investors, and FDI, the foreign direct investment. Now both ways have been open to the retail sector in India. Especially recently the government of India announced that it is going to allow 100% FDI investments in retail sectors in both single brand and multi brands retailing. So it has given way for the vast growth of retail sector in India, where the big globally and international companies are coming into India. And now not only that, after the entry of these global companies in India, they are generating an employment of around 8% in our economy, and this retail sector is contributing more than 10% of our country's GDP. So finally we can say that these are the important factors which have given rise to the growth of retail sector in India. Now, but still India faces some challenges. Now let us see what are the challenges which are to be faced by the retail sector in India. Retail is not being reorganized as industry in India. Still, it has to be recognized as industry. Still, it is not. And the Retailers Association of India, they are asking the government to recognize them as retail industry and allow the FDI and FFIs. Still, the high cost of real estate. See, the procure of land is very costly in India. Lack of adequate infrastructure facility is one of the reason, and it is a main challenge for India. And the major problem is multiple and complex taxation system. But now I think after the GST, which was introduced in July 2017, I think the problem is going to be solved. Now we'll continue the challenges. Strong long-term growth potential is required. Now severe cost pressure because due to the rentals, and the profitability of the retail sector players will be remaining low because in India the capital cost of capital is very high. Still, the consolidation is on the cards. So retail sector is still driven by more traffic growth than ticket growth. Convenience stores to still remain the integral part of the retail, and I think the retail need to go for catering to the local favors, and internet retailing still to pick up in India. But today I think after the entry of Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, Myntra, the Indian internet retailing has really picked up. But still there is a scope of internet retailing to be still picked up the pace in India. Now let us see what the future is ahead for our Indian retail industry. Now new retail forms and shortening retail life cycles are going to come. Yes, if you see the new retail forms, we can say like today mostly the online grocery stores like Big Baskets, right? And even the Swiggy has came into delivering of groceries with Swiggy Mart. Even Amazon has came into the delivery of groceries when Flipkart is delivering groceries. So new forms of retail will be coming, so that's for sure. Then the growth of non-store retailing will be continued. So there will be a retail convergence, and most probably there will be a rise of mega retailers where you will find all different types of products, goods under one roof, like Mega Mart, Vishal Mart, right? D Marts, Walmarts, Metro. So where the customer can find all different products, whatever he wants, under only one roof. Then the growing importance of retail technology. Yes, I think Indian retailers should take care of this. They should implement more technology like e-commerce, where they can go for B2C or B2B or C2C, and they can adapt technology for making retail business more stronger. And global expansion of major retailers. Yes, so that is the need for the we need to invite more global retailers into our country. And retail stores are going to become the communities and hangouts. Yes, so retail stores are going to become the hangouts for young people, especially where they can sit together, they can shop, and they can share their feelings, they can share their ideas, etc. Right. So finally, we can say that so retailing in India is still on a developing note, and in India our government need to recognize the retail sector as a industry, because as per the Retailers Association of India, they argue that until and unless our government recognizes the retail sector as an industry, there will be more possibility of the growth, since as we discussed earlier, retailing is contributing more than 10% of our GDP, and they're also giving around 8% of employment for our young generation. So the government, if it allows the FDI to 100% as it promised, I hope that today the retail sector in India will grow as per the global standards, right? So we can say that retailing in India still is at a developing stage, and very soon we can say that India is going to become the number one in terms of the retail sector in the entire world. So I hope my class has given some thoughts for the students on what is retailing, how retailing is important for a country's economic development, the role of retailing in a country's economic growth and development, and also we have discussed about the what are the main reasons, the factors which have influenced such a huge growth recently in the retail sector in India. And we have also discussed the various challenges which had to be still faced by the retail sector, and if these challenges will be overcome by the retailers, I think India will be a retail hub. As know today, even the top companies of the world are entirely looking at India for expanding their retail business. I hope that this topic is more important for the students, and this has given some knowledge on the part of the students on what is retailing, why retailing is so important, the factors which have attributed to the growth of retail in India, and the challenges ahead and the future ahead. And once again, I'm very much thankful to the Commissioner sir, for giving me this opportunity for preparing a video lesson on retailing. Thank you one and all.